This podcast is part of the Zeo to Hero Podcast Network. Hello, all my beautiful people. It's time for another fun episode of If You Give a Dad a Podcast. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who is listening right now. Whether this be your first time listening, or if you're a long time listener, I appreciate each and every one of you that are here right now listening to this episode. So this week is going to be a really cool episode, I think. It's probably one of my favorites that I've done so far. The conversation flowed really well, and I had a really good time recording this one, and even going back and editing it. There was not a lot that I had to edit out of it because it was, like I said, a very good flowing conversation. And so I really think you guys are going to enjoy this one. Funny thing is about it, this is the third attempt at recording this episode. The first time that we did it, the audio didn't work out and I wasn't able to use it. The second time I was supposed to record with him, my internet got cut. They were putting in a new fence because we had the storms here, and they cut our fiber line. And then now we're at this time. So that's why I called this episode The Charm. And today's guest is Chris Fulmer. He is a musical artist. He is a songwriter. He is an actor. We're going to talk about all those things today, and you guys are really going to enjoy this conversation. I am sure of it. And for those of you who are here just to listen to the Chris Fulmer episode, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you hear, and I hope that you stick around and listen to some of my other episodes as well. So, if you guys are as excited as I am, then let's get this show on the road.
If You Give a Dad a Podcast.
You're bloody welcome!
You know?
Hey, Dad.
If I get my hand stuck in a pickle jar, I'm straight up bull in a china shop, just swinging around.
Started writing songs when I was about 12 or so.
Seriously?
They're retrofitting me now, and
I'm like, yes, finally.
I also had the opportunity to go train with Hoist Gracie and Dan Severn.
Wow.
I like that. That's different. Stands out.
That day I took my very first bump and it was fun.
There's only one section to go to first.
Yeah.
Toys.
Bro.
I was like, no, man, surely this guy's not booked out that long.
I haven't laughed that hard since I was a little girl.
What?
Man, this guy won't shut up.
And just a reminder before we get started here, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to iGadap wherever it is you're listening. Hit that notification bell so you are notified when a new episode drops. Also, make sure that you go out there and rate and review this episode. Tell me what you think of it. And the more people that do that, the more likely I am to be recommended to somebody else. Now, on to the show. All right, folks. So this is something I am going to try again. I recorded with my guest a few months ago. And, the audio didn't work out for us. And then we were supposed to record a few weeks ago. And as you know, my fiber line got cut. And so I was not able to record that week either. So this is the third time. We've said third time's a charm. I think this is going to work out great. But today's guest is the lead vocalist and guitarist for Stays in Vegas. He is the founding member of it. He's a songwriter. He's an actor. He is a local to Arkansas. And I am talking about Christopher Fulmer. Man, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing great as long as asteroids and airplanes don't crash down during this interview. I'm doing awesome.
Yeah. Oh, we have worked very hard to try to get to this where we're at right now.
And thank you for that. Thank you for working hard to get me on and not just going, forget it. So I appreciate it.
No, I didn't want to do that because I remember I enjoyed the conversation that we had last time. And I was like, man, I want people to hear this because I had a really good time talking to you. So, I had to make sure that this happened again because people need to hear this,
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. So I'm glad we are finally redoing it. So
definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So the last time I talked to you, you had actually been in studio doing some stuff for an album. Now we were talking right before this and you said that you're going in a whole new different direction now. Is this a different direction from the last time that I talked to you, or was that the new direction?
No, yeah, totally different than the last time. We we're pulling a Foo Fighters here on their album One by One, where they went in and recorded everything, spent like hundreds of thousands of dollars, except we didn't do that. And then they go back and listen to it and then they just scrapped it and re-recorded everything one by one. And we're kind of doing that. We spent, it's going on 2.5 years now on this album.
Wow.
And it's, we went in and started recording some songs for me to we just did the music part of it 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I was going to take it back and then work on vocals, listening to it in our home studio and stuff like that. And then we went back in and recorded, finished one song, our single Nevermore, which we put out last July.
Uh-huh.
And then just to kind of get the process started of us coming back on the scene, so to speak. And then we went back in to record some stuff. And then I got sick, had some health issues that came up. And nothing serious or anything like that, but it took a while to heal from it. And I couldn't sing very well, a lot of issues. But
gotcha.
But we finally started going back in the studio this year. And as we're recording and working on them, 2 years is a long time. And you start looking at some of these songs and we're in a different place and they sound different. And, there's just not where we want to go with them.
Right.
Except for a couple songs. There's a couple songs that we're happy with that are totally different because we're a hard rock punk band, but these two songs, we added symphony parts to them. There's cello, violins. They're very personal and melodic. And so we're going to kind of keep those, do those as a special release probably here in the next couple months.
Okay.
And then we're going into a new studio in Nashville with Skid Mills. He's a Grammy Award-winning producer, engineer. He's done bands like Devour the Day, ZZ Top, Tonic, one of my favorite albums, Tonic. He helped produce that. So we're actually going there in February and redoing this whole album with whole new songs. And we're even scrapping some of the songs that we've done before that we're just not happy with. They don't sound like us.
The thing is people change over time, whenever you first started the songs, you could have been a completely different person. And so, it doesn't always work that way. I mean, I've went back and some of the things I've done in the past and I'm not there anymore. So that totally makes sense. Whenever things happen in your life and it changes the way you look, even at your artistic things that you're a part of.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the sound. I mean, just in the past couple of years, when I had those health issues, I sat at home and all I did was play guitar and just work on different things. And there's different emotions come out, different feelings. So the songs that we have now feel like they're 10 times better than the songs we were focusing on before. They sound more like us when we're inclusive as a band. And then part of that too is I won an artist grant with Mid-America Arts Alliance. And I won a $10,000 artist grant a couple months ago.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. But that was the push, I guess, really thinking the universe saying, hey, here you go. This is the direction you need to go to because that's getting us to the studio. It's helping us do all that. So it's, artistically it's different. Feeling is different. We're more motivated, more excited about this. It's been great.
Right. Well, and so I have a question. You said you're sitting at home with the guitar. Do you prefer acoustic or electric, or do you have a preference between the two?
Yeah, I do. I've pretty much every song starts on acoustic. Not every song. There's a few where I'm down in the studio just hashing away on electric, but most of the time I'm just sitting on my deck, or sitting on my couch and I'm playing a guitar, my acoustic, and a song falls out. It's been frustrating because I try to practice scales and all this stuff like you're supposed to do as any kind of player. And every time I pick up a guitar, a new song comes out or a new riff. And even if I'm trying to work on the songs that I'm supposed to be working on, I'll write a new one. And so it gets frustrating a lot of times. But
well, I mean, you can't help it when those creative juices are flowing. You've got to let it come out.
I know, yeah. And my phone is full of like voice memos that I have of just riffs and songs and stuff. And I'll send them to the guys and they're like, okay, we already have. Because when we started this fourth album now, when we started this, I had like 25, 30 songs that I brought to the band.
Oh, wow.
For the guys. And that were fully formed. I had hundreds of like little riffs since COVID. But I had like 25, 30 songs for the band that we kind of weeded through. And I had like 30 solo songs that I'm working on too. Because I'm working on a new solo album at the same time. I'm an idiot taking on too much.
You just like to stay busy, man.
You have no idea, and there's no like to it. It's just I stay busy. I love my life. I love what I do, but it stays busy.
Yeah,
but yeah. So I guess my preference is acoustic because I think you can feel the bare bones of a song better by acoustic.
Right. Yeah.
And if it sounds good acoustic and electric both, then I know it's probably a good song.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of, I prefer playing my acoustic guitar if I'm going to play one. It's been a long time since I've been able to pick up my acoustic guitar because I stay way too busy, as you do.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, I get that. It's I don't know. There's something about the acoustic guitar that's therapeutic in a way, I think, whenever I'm playing it, and so I definitely understand the preference of acoustic over electric. And that's not downing electric at all, because I like electric too.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I love electric. It's and I guess there's feeling to it too. If I'm just in a pissy mood, I'm going down the studio and I'm cranking up my amps and I'm pissing off my neighbors and and I just welling away. But most of the time it's just I have a guitar in every room. Not expensive guitars, but just I learned this from Johnny Cash, and there was some other musicians that always talked about I have a guitar in every room. That way, when inspiration's there, I just go and grab it. So I've always put a guitar in every room, and even one in my bedroom. I've woke up in the middle of the night and strummed away on a song. But I'll see it over in a corner, and I'll be like, you know what? I just want to play.
Yeah.
And I'll go grab it, and I'll be watching Big Bang Theory or something like that, and be playing away on guitar.
Yeah.
It's therapeutic. Yeah.
It is. So who would you say is some of your biggest influences when it comes to your style?
Oh man, that's tough. To my style, Nirvana and Kurt Cobain is my, that's what's, when I started playing guitar, it was, Metallica and Poison and Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and all those shredders that I could not even begin. I would listen to them and then pick up a guitar and go, I suck, and put it down. But when Nirvana came out, it was, and just a lot of people have said this, it was like, hey, I can play this.
Yeah.
I don't have to shred. I don't have to this. And it really influenced me into songwriting because I was writing songs before Nirvana came out. But when I started listening to Nirvana, I was like, these sound like my songs I was writing before because all I knew were power chords.
Right.
And I couldn't shred or anything. I took, one or two lessons and they tried to tell me scales and all this. And, because I could read music. I took clarinet, saxophone, and oboe in high school.
Okay.
And was reading sheet music and stuff like that. But when it came to guitar, it was just watching videos, watching how they played and tab. And so that led me into punk a lot more. Grunge, of course, but yeah, Kurt Cobain. After that, uh, Metallica, of course.
Yeah.
That's in there. Um, my favorite guitarist though is Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong there.
No, and I'm on the side of I think he's the best guitarist that ever lived.
Okay.
Personally, yeah, because he plays rhythm and lead at the same exact time,
Right. Yeah.
and it's I mean everybody's like, well, what about Jimi Hendrix? I'm like, well, he plays Jimi Hendrix better than Jimi Hendrix.
Some hot takes tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess influences there on
Yeah.
guitars. Kurt Cobain's the main one, but vocally is totally different. That's probably shocking on my influences there, but yeah, we won't get through that. Or you'll probably ask me now.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's we'll go into that. I've got a few more going with this because I mean, you've got your band too, and it has its own unique style as well, and I'm sure that there's some influences come there as well.
Yeah, because we're all three different. Vocally, going back to Nirvana, but less Nirvana, more Lane Staley and stuff. But Sting
Yeah.
is one of my favorites. John Bon Jovi.
Uh-huh.
I think I lend if I'm not screaming in the band and I can actually get to singing, it's more like John Bon Jovi. Sting is one of my big influences. Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite bands of all time, which is shocking, Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears. Okay.
That's actually public now. Wow. I actually said that out loud.
It is out there for everyone to hear, and I'm not editing that out. So
okay. Damn it. I love Tears for Fears, man. Yeah. They're amazing songwriters.
Okay. So the band then, I mean, because I know that like you said, you all have a different style and it melds together really well, So where's your common ground, I guess?
It's odd because we're different ages in the band. We're not going to say ages, but we're all different ages. And we have different influences. Myself and Glenn Powell, the drummer of Stays in Vegas, we're big Nirvana fans. We're closer to the same age, but we have different, kind of similar, I guess, influences and stuff there. And then Blake Copeland, the bass player, he's a lot younger than us, but I think Green Day is one of his favorite bands. But usually when we're practicing now for a Crashcast podcast cover show coming up in November. It's not announced yet, but we're doing Nirvana.
Okay.
As part of it. So we did it Halloween last year. And me and Glenn could just like name a song and then we start playing it. And Blake just sits there and goes, I don't know this one. Because we're doing some of the rare ones. But he's got a few favorites that we all kind of, if we want to just jam away on a few songs, we'll play Nirvana or Green Day or something like that. But
right on.
But our influences are kind of pretty close, which helps.
Right.
And I think it helps when we just, I don't know, we've been together for 8 years now, the three of us.
Okay.
The band's been a band for a little bit longer, but now we just kind of click away when one of us starts playing. We could just, even if it's something brand new, we can just kind of flow right into it and be in sync. So I guess our influences help that, but just time-wise helps too.
You were mentioning something a minute ago, and I wanted to kind of talk about this a little bit, and that's your solo project. Did you start out solo, or was this something that you decided later on that you wanted to do? And what kind of music are we looking at whenever it comes to your solo style?
It's totally different than Stays in Vegas. Okay. Even though some of the songs that we've done in Stays in Vegas are really close to my solo stuff. the solo stuff is just because I write. I guess I love all kinds of music,
Right.
from heavy metal to reggae to pop to Beethoven.
Yeah.
I love all kinds of music.
Right.
And so when I write, I might write a punk song or a very heavy song, and then the next one's an acoustic ballad. And those acoustic ballads don't really mesh well on a punk album. So, and we've had some back and forth in the band on these because I'll be like, no, I think this is a solo song, and the
Yeah.
guys are like, why? It doesn't matter. It could be a Stays in Vegas song if we want. I'm like, but I really want to keep it separate.
Right.
So I've always had a bunch of these acoustic songs because that's like we were talking earlier. That's what I started a lot of songs on,
Yeah.
and they feel like ballads. They feel acoustic. They feel like a solo song to me, and not a Stays in Vegas song. So I'll kind of keep those. And I had so many piled up that when Stays in Vegas was kind of on a break, a hiatus, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go in and just record some of these songs, and then it ended up being a solo album. Some of them were some Stays in Vegas song that I put out as a solo song too, but I don't know, they're more. I guess the best relation would be Jack Johnson, Rustin Kelly, or like Chris Cornell did his Soundgarden and then would go do his solo stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. So I got some songs that just sound like a beach song or a really broken heart love song that doesn't necessarily belong on a Stays in Vegas album. So
Gotcha.
I am working on my second solo album. I've got a couple songs already done. I may put out one single here. I'm going in next week to finish it up, and then I may put that single out here in the next month or so. Trying to time it to where it's a Stays in Vegas comes out, then a solo, then a Stays in Vegas, then a solo. So it's just constant music, but not.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing though, because it's it won't feel repetitive to you because you've got stuff coming out constantly, but it alternates between the band and your solo stuff, and so to me I feel like that would make it feel more full to you.
Yeah, it does, and it's an outlet too because I play drums and bass as well.
Gotcha.
So when I do the solo stuff, a lot of times it's just me doing everything.
Okay.
This album, I want to bring in some more people. I want to have more collaboration for my solo stuff. Even for Stays in Vegas, we brought in Joseph Fuller, who's done a lot of work with DeFrance and some other local bands, but he's the one that played cello and violin on a couple of the songs.
Okay.
So it's actually the first time we brought in somebody outside of our world to play, and I loved it. It was amazing, and it was the first time I kind of sat back and let somebody else dictate sounds on our music, because usually it's I'm the songwriter and the Glenn and Blake add their little flares to it as well. But
when
he was in there for the cello, he's like, what are you thinking? I'm like, dude, go for it, whatever you feel. So he was like coming up with melodies to go along with the songs and stuff, and I'm like, this is awesome. Cool. It made it a whole different song. And honestly, one of the songs we did that we're putting out is it's called Memory of Pain. It's a song we put out on our second album, and it was never done right. I was never happy with it. Just because I wanted a cello on it, and the celloist that was supposed to come play on it didn't show up. And so I improvised some guitar stuff on it. I wasn't happy with the way it was going, and we kept talking. We recorded it, and I never touched it again. We've never played it live. I don't even listen to it, but it's a really good song. It's about It's about suicide, but it's from the survivor's point of view. And Glenn was like, let's redo it. I want to redo it. So he taught me into it, and we redid it, and now I can't stop listening to it. I love it. I think it's one of the better songs we've ever done.
Yeah.
Just because now it sounds how I imagined. So I want to kind of do that. I want to be able to, on the solo stuff, play the instruments, but have collaborations.
Yeah.
Grow the music that way, and even on Stays in Vegas side, I want to do it as well. So it's part of my therapy.
There you go.
Getting my art out.
So I do want to talk about your process a little bit. I know we kind of talked about how, you have instruments all over your house, or you have guitars all over your house and stuff. But what does your actual writing process look like whenever you're developing a new song?
Oh, it is chaos at best. Sometimes it's systemic. Sometimes I'll actually sit down and say, okay, I'm going to write today.
Yeah.
But a lot of times if I'm trying to come up with lyrics or something like that, I'll just go for a walk and I'll listen to different music and stuff, and I'll hear a word that'll inspire me in a song, and then I'll just start writing. I wrote a song on the plane coming into Lexington tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was listening to what was I listening to? Kings of Leon. And it was one phrase he said that just sparked an inspiration and I wrote just a full page of lyrics. But a lot of times I'll pick up a guitar and I'll write a riff or something like that. I'll record it. And then I'll go back and kind of listen back to it on my phone. I'll do it in voice memo on my phone. I'll listen back to the riff and go, you know what, that's actually a good one. I'll name it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's random names, nothing specific. Just rambling away is what I'm looking through my phone right now. Free Alice. I don't even know what that is. Mental adjustment. But it's whatever pops in my head as I'm listening to it. So if I name it, then it's out in the world. It's important. If it's just a random voice memo, I know it's just like a riff or something like that. So I'll kind of go back and listen to that riff, and then see if I can mold it into a song. And if I can, I'll do phonetics with it. Just getting the melody and stuff. And then as I'm playing, if a word falls out, sometimes that'll shape into a song. I've had that where one of our new songs that we're working on right now that it's called Once Upon a Time. And that was a process. I found a riff. I love the song. I made the melody on the guitar. But as I was playing it, I was doing phonetics, and on the chorus, it was just Once Upon a Time, You Were Mine. Just came out. And I was like, actually, that's a really good hook.
Yeah.
And now that's the name of the song, and now that's the chorus. And it was just the phonetics came out and shaped it into a song. So I didn't have a theme for it, but now it does. That's kind of my process. Some of it, I could write a song in 10, 15 minutes. There's one song I've been working on for 25 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I've presented it to the guys a couple of times. This is going to really freak you out on the name. It's called Mucus Salt. I don't know why I named it that 25 years ago, but Mucus Salt. Right. But it's always been there. And we've tried doing it as a band a couple of times, and it just doesn't click. But every album I'll go, hey, what about this song? They're like, oh, okay. But it's there. I could hear it. But I can't. We can't mesh it out, and I can't mesh out vocals or lyrics to it. But I love the riff. It's got a good vibe.
So here's what I'll do is then if I'm ever at one of your live shows, I'm going to be that dude off to the side that just screams out, play Mucus Salt.
That's going to be our free bird. Thanks, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll play it, and you'll hear the guys cuss. Yeah.
Oh, well, that'll be worth it right there. So
Yes, it will.
So you said something, and it reminded me of a story. you said that you listen to music and you catch little words in there and stuff. And I know you listen to some punk rock and stuff like that too. So you've heard of a band called Newfound Glory, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So did you know that there is a lyric in their song, All Downhill From Here, that actually gave another band their name? And that is the band All Time Low. Because in the song, it says it feels like you're at an all-time low. And they were inspired and made a band based off of that lyric.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm full of useless knowledge. So
you're a plethora of useless knowledge.
My kids, they're like, why do you know this stuff? I'm like, I don't know. I just do.
Yeah.
One day, maybe it'll help you. Maybe you'll be on Jeopardy or something, or maybe not Jeopardy. What would it be? Yeah, it'd be Jeopardy.
Yeah, Jeopardy.
Yeah,
Jeopardy.
Maybe they'd be on Jeopardy and they'll be like, oh, my dad told me this a long time ago. I know the answer to this. But
yep. You never know.
Exactly. So I know you started playing music at a very young age. I think you said the last time I talked to you, you said you were 14 when you wrote your first song.
Yeah, 14 or 15. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever play that song anymore?
No, I have no idea what it was. I'm sure it was horrible, and I'm sure it's about some girl.
It wasn't about mucus salt?
No, that was in my grunge punk years. And honestly, I was probably listening to Insecticide by Nirvana, and there's some weird names on there like Hairspray.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was probably it. But yeah, I was about 14 or 15 when I really started playing guitar and writing my first songs.
Right. Okay. So I have one more question to ask you, and then we're going to switch over to another side of some stuff that you do. But I want to know, where did you get the band name at?
Yeah, last time we talked, I can't remember if I told you the real story or one of the 100 fake stories we give, but I think I told you the real story.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Yeah, we've in many interviews we've told different stories about. One was we had another guitarist and left him in Vegas, hence Days in Vegas.
Yeah,
he's still there, turning tricks. But yeah, when the band started, it was a cover band, just a party band playing 90s to now alt rock.
Okay.
Stuff, and that was the intent. I started with a guy that I worked with at the time. I worked at Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security contractor, and he was begging me to start a band with him. His intent was me to play drums in his cover band. I'm like, no, I don't play drums live. I just play in the studio. But he talked me into it, and he's like, but my only condition was we play 90s to now rock. I wasn't going to play Mustang Sally or Leonard Skinner out in public. So we agreed, but we were trying to come up with a band name. We passed around a couple different ones, like Barney Tastes Like Purple Chicken was one. I think Free Beer was one, and now I see the memes all around.
Yeah.
But I was watching The Hangover one night. I love the Hangover movies, and I was watching that, and they said what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except chlamydia. And I texted him. I was like, "Hey, what about stays in Vegas?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's kind of cool." I was like, "Well, let's use that until we come up with something better."
Mm-hmm.
And we never came up with anything better. We started using it, and people started, and they still to this day they come up and just go, "Oh yeah, I've heard of you guys." But no, you haven't. You've heard what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas,
right?
And it's catchy, and it catches and it sticks. But at the time, there was only one other stays in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
It was a wedding band in Cincinnati.
Okay.
And actually messaged them and was like, "Hey, do you mind if we call us Stays in Vegas?" And they're like, "Well, you're in Arkansas, we're in Cincinnati. The two worlds will never mesh." And I was like, "Cool."
Right.
Now there's 5 Stays in Vegas.
I bet they didn't message you guys though, did they?
No. One was actually a fan of ours.
Oh.
Stole the name, changed his name to Chris Vegas.
What?
and started doing shows in Arizona and Texas and stuff like that. And we kept getting tagged in his shows.
Oh my
Finally
gosh.
had to message him. He was like, dude, stop. And now he doesn't exist anymore. There's an actual Stays in Vegas that
Yeah.
we keep getting tagged on their stuff.
Yeah.
And I've had to message them going, hey, not trying to be an ass or anything, but you might want to change the name because we're coming up with new stuff.
Yeah.
Because we've actually trademarked the name Stays in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, and because there's so many. There's one in Australia, and they're actually really cool. We've talked to them quite a bit, and they're like, "Yeah, keep using it. You guys are awesome." There's some old guys just playing in pubs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how we came up with the name Stays in Vegas, and it stuck.
I love it. I love it, man. That's awesome. So you have another side of things that you do, and I know that recently you posted something on social media about doing a bunch of different auditions and things like that. And you're an actor. You've done a few movies, one called Antiquities and another one called The Awakening. What got you into doing acting?
Yeah, I was bored.
That's a good way to start. Yeah.
Yeah. Kids, a lot of my other world things start with I was bored one day. I was in LA. I'm a movie fan. I love movies, and I'm not one of those cinephiles that can tell you the director of everyone. I go in and watch a movie.
Yeah.
I love them that way.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to be a part of it. I never wanted to be like never wanted to be a rock star or a movie star or anything like that. I was in LA. I had 2 down days on my day job, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to go to Disney. I don't want to go to Universal. I don't want to do all this. What can I do? And it's like, oh, let me pick up an industry mag and see if maybe I could be like a background actor. That would be fun.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of jobs, and I messaged them, and they sent back and said, can you be here at 8 o'clock in the morning? I'm like, oh, yeah. And so I showed up, and it was a film with John Cho. I was a restaurant patron, and turns out I was really good at it because I'm OCD.
Yeah.
And pantomiming is right up my alley. I just sat at a bar for 8 hours and did the exact same thing, eating goldfish for an hour. And then when those got boring, I went and got jelly beans and ate them. But I just sit there at the bar, and they did different angles and stuff like that. And I watched the process. I had fun. They had prime rib at craft services. I'm like, this is awesome. And then I was in Florida, and that was another one. I was bored again. I was like, hey, I did that out in LA. Let me see if there's something here.
Yeah.
And I ended up being in another film that you actually mentioned, and I forgot I was actually in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that was another one. I just spent a day or two on set, and it just kind of went from there. Antiquities was another one of those that I went to do blocking.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, blocking is just helping the director out. You stand where the famous actors are going to stand 2 days from now, and help the director do positions and stuff. And me and another local actress, Carmen, we're sitting there doing the lines back and forth so they could see how the scene plays out. And the director liked us. And he's like, hey, what are y'all doing tomorrow? You want to be the bartender? It's a featured background. Nice. So now I'm actually featured. And I'm like, yeah, definitely. And it was in a strip club scene. I'm like, even better. So, and it just kind of stemmed from there. And I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
With acting and the process and being a part of it. And started getting lines and started helping UCA Film School on all their films, which I'm still doing. And it just went from there to the next thing I know, I'm standing across from Jennifer Lawrence. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And it's been otherworldly sometimes and kind of surreal, but fun. Yeah.
So you and I have a mutual friend, and that's how I actually met you, is through this mutual friend. And I'm talking about Luke. He is part of, Original Geek. I get to hang out with him when we go to conventions and things like that. I'm talking to him tomorrow night. We're doing another Beyond the Panels for Original Geek tomorrow night. So
nice.
Yeah, he's the one who gave me my nickname Papa Podcast, actually. So
that sounds about right. That sounds like something Luke would do.
Oh yeah. So he told me another something that you did, and gonna bring it up, and that is the Click It or Ticket Arkansas video that you did. Kind of talk about that a little bit.
One, I will say this: Luke was my homeboy until that. Love you, Luke. Nah, I love Luke. So that was a Arkansas DOT Click It or Ticket commercial I did like 2 years ago. Where I got a ticket for texting and driving, and after that came out, everywhere I went, it was, "Hey man, click it or ticket. Hey man, did you get a ticket?" I'm like, "Oh God." Yeah. And oddly enough, I did get a ticket, but not for texting and driving.
Oh man. Yeah. No, he said the first time that I said that I was going to record with you, he was like, "Oh, make sure that you ask him about this." And so I was like, "Okay, I'll make sure that I'll do that." So
yeah, and it's funny, some of those projects that I get. Just I'm going to do a project. I've spent like 2 hours on that project. They had shot some other scenes and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to pretend I'm getting a ticket or whatever, and then it comes out a couple months later. I never know it comes out, and then next thing I know, people are like, "Hey, click it or ticket." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I don't even know what they're talking about. Like the movie you mentioned last time, I was like, what is that?
Text Me When You Get Home. Is that the one?
Oh, no. That one. Yeah, I do know that one. There was another movie you mentioned that I think it was the one I did in Florida. I was like, oh, I forgot all about that. I need to go back and watch that.
Maybe it was the Awakening.
That's it. The Awakening.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never seen it. I don't. I need to go back and watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just kind of interesting because I kind of go and do it and then forget about it, and then it kind of comes out. And had another music friend, JC, was at Department of Labor for my day job, and he came up. He's like, "Did you do a Travel Channel thing? I think I saw you last night." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, were you like some parapsychologist?" I'm like, "Oh crap, I forgot about that." Yeah. He's like, "I did see you." Like, yeah, that was a Travel Channel thing a couple years ago. I forgot.
We'll have to do like a game called like Spot the Fulmer or something like that,
Oh my God, that's could be scary, man. I'm sure there's plenty of YouTube out there that I don't want to see.
Yeah. So talking about the Arkansas State videos and stuff, there was one, and you're not a part of it, I don't believe, unless I need to go rewatch it again. But it was the one about people like getting like drunk and stuff like that. And, you had the guy that like opened his visor on his motorcycle helmet and beer falls out. And it shows the guy like floating in like a martini, like in his car and stuff like that. Cause they drank a lot and stuff. And there was one of the dudes on there that his eyes just creeped me out in there. He would just like look out and he just looked like one of those like horror movie drowned, like somebody who drowned in like a horror movie, that look in their eyes. And and it creeped me out, and I've never forgot about that one. But that's another one that I think Arkansas has done. And if that's what they were trying to do, good job. They got my attention with that one.
Yeah, something like that would freak me out too. I haven't seen that one, but that would be one I'd be like, okay, I'm never drinking again.
Exactly. Yeah. So you told me, well, no, you did tell me, but I saw on your Instagram, you've done some different auditions and things like that, and you've had some things that have come about with this. So the acting side is kind of ramping up again for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's it kind of, last year was crazy. I did like 4 or 5 student films. I did some commercials, and then I got into theater for the first time and fell in love with theater. I did a play called One Night at Argenta.
Okay.
What was Argenta Community Theater? Now it's Argenta Contemporary Theater. They changed the name after.
Okay.
And then I kind of took some time off to work on the album that is now trashed. And, but now it's picking back up. I've done a couple things, and I got a couple things in the works. One that hasn't been released. I did a Bad Boys lawnmower commercial last month, and
like for the movie.
No, for the lawnmower, the Bad Boy lawnmower commercial.
Oh, okay. I forgot. Yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I wish it was Bad Boys.
I was like, Bad Boys lawnmower commercial. Okay.
Yeah. And then we just did a table read for another student film that I'm going to be shooting in a couple weeks. And then doing got some other projects that can't talk about
Gotcha.
that are pending. But yeah, just doing. I'm starting to do auditions again, and what I posted on social media was like some of the commercial shoots because somebody was talking about it with somebody a week or two ago, and it reminded me when I did this shoot that they're like, "Oh, you're an actor. That must be amazing and glorious." And you're, in all these films. I was like, it's brutal sometimes. They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think you really understand that. It's not just, hey, I think I'll be in a film next week, and you're just in a makeup chair and craft services. It's you do 100 auditions to get 10 callbacks to get one project, and most of those you hear, you know what, you're too old. You're not old enough. You're not good looking enough. You're too good looking, which I think is weird. You're not fat enough. You're too fat. You're not what we're looking for. So it's kind of brutal, and you have to. I was talking with another actor. I'm like, you can't take any of that to heart.
No, you gotta have thick skin.
Yeah. It's not about you. They have a specific need for a character. It's a character.
Right.
Imagine somebody like somebody you're trying to cast for Santa Claus. You have to be a specific look. That if you're not heavy enough, then you're not going to be a good Santa Claus. If you're too heavy, you're not going to be a good Santa Claus. They're looking for a perfect mix for a character. It doesn't mean you're bad.
Yep.
You don't fit for that character, but you'll fit for another one.
Right.
But it's hard for some people, and it took me a lot of years to figure that, because in music I got hit a lot with, the band's great except for the singer. I'm like, hey, I'm the singer.
Yeah.
That was early on, and it pushed me to take vocal lessons and singing lessons, and I've always been the kind that, because I was bullied when I was younger, and it kind of shaped me into. After hearing that, the first day or two, I'm really down on myself. But then after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
I'm going to take lessons. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get better. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to belt away in front of you and prove you wrong. So, the acting side, I have thick skin with it now. It still gets to me sometimes. But that was that post, kind of posted, hey, I did a commercial shoot, but I don't think you guys kind of realize this is one of hundreds that I may never ever hear back from.
Right. Yeah. So I had Cayman Casey on not too long ago. He was actually in Black Adam, and he's done a few other things. He's a voice actor as well. And he did a bunch of cuts and stuff like that for 7-Eleven and like their anniversary or something like that. He's like, man, I was working hard. Like I was doing all these flips and all these kind of things in the background for him. And I did it for, 6 hours probably. He said, and they didn't use any of it. It's gotta be heartbreaking to, put all that hard work into it and nothing come of it. But I mean, like you said, you got to have thick skin and realize that, it's not about you. You can't take it personally. It's just, they have a specific image in their head and a specific idea that they want to go with, and sometimes not everything makes the cut. That first film I did, where I was born in LA, I spent 8 hours at that bar, and I couldn't find the film for years. And they actually asked me to be the chef, to do a feature background part of it too. I forgot about that. And finally, a couple years ago, I found it, and so I brought my mom in. I was like, "Hey, let's watch this first film I was in." And I fast forwarded to the bar scene,
You see my man bun for 3 seconds. That's it. Don't even see my face. Don't even see nothing. It's just that. And I'm like, all that time, all that hype and nothing. So there is a lot of that. And it's that way with music too. You spend hours and hours and hours practicing and stuff. And then you get somebody that comes out and goes, yeah, I really don't like you guys.
Man.
Yeah. So it's kind of, it's rough being in the entertainment business sometimes, but we love it. It's amazing. I feel like it's a gift for anybody that gets to do it. It's a blessing because it's the best thing in the world.
Right.
It's soul crushing sometimes.
So do you have any hobbies?
Yeah, we just talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody asked me that the other day. I'm like, God, I used to. Music was my hobby, and writing, and really just listening to music and watching music. But and I try to exercise a lot. Getting outside in nature. That's kind of a hobby. But I do home remodeling. I'm remodeling my house. I got like 3 projects going on in my house. I used to say traveling, but I travel for a living. So I'm in Lexington, Kentucky now. So my vacations are on my couch. I'm weird. My hobbies are what I do for a living.
Yeah.
So
nothing wrong with that.
No, I guess not.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you love what you do.
I do love what I do. All my jobs, which it's weird saying that. All my jobs, I absolutely love what I do, even though it keeps me busy.
Yeah. So we're kind of coming up close to a close here. I have just a couple more questions for you before I get you off of here.
Okay.
So you're talking about movies a minute ago. What's your most recent movie that you've went and saw that you enjoyed?
Oh, I haven't been to the theater in a while, and I'm dying to go to Deadpool and Wolverine. I haven't been yet. Most recent movie that I went and enjoyed. I don't even remember the last movie I went to. This is going to be a horrible answer to the question. This is sad because I've been on the road so much lately that I haven't had a chance to go to the theater. So it was probably last year since I went, but I've been watching a lot on Netflix and stuff.
That works too. Have you saw any that you are really liking?
I'm hooked on Suits now.
Suits, okay, that's a good one.
I just got into it a couple weeks ago. A friend came and stayed for a weekend, and she was like, have you ever watched Suits? I was like, no, I've kind of seen it. And she's like, well, let's watch that. And we watched a couple episodes, and now I'm hooked on it. So Suits is probably my most recent, but been watching a lot of stand-up. Trying to get into just a more happy comedic thing. About to, when we get off this, I'm going to watch Joe Rogan's new one I saw.
I want to see that. I saw that. Me and my wife were flipping through. We're rewatching The Resident right now. And we like Suits too, though. She's actually the one that got me into Suits. But I saw that Joe Rogan has a new stand-up. And man, I love Joe Rogan's stand-up. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah. So I love Joe Rogan. I haven't seen the new one yet. I've been saving it to when I had some time. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna watch it tonight. I love stand-up. I'm a huge stand-up. Like I want to go to Looney Bin anytime I have free time. So there's one of my hobbies. I'll go to Looney Bin.
There you go.
And try to support local comedy. Yeah.
So there's one that I wish I need to come. He needs to come out with another a special, and he's my favorite, and that's Bill Burr.
Oh yes, I love Bill Burr.
Yeah, I just love how angry he is, and it's just great.
my favorite comedian, my 2 favorite comedians of all time, Mitch Hedberg, and Stephen Wright.
Okay, those both good. Yeah,
I could hear them. Of course, Mitch has passed, but anytime I hear even his old stuff, I just start cracking up laughing. Oh yeah, it's just
He was the king of one-liners.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
is Stephen Wright, and it's
yeah,
just so macabre and
right.
monotone, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm one of those. I love watching stand up. I've been liking Brad Williams a lot here lately too. Um, I don't know if you've seen any of his stuff. He's pretty funny.
No, I
Uh,
haven't.
yeah, I think you can probably find his. There's a lot of them on Amazon Prime now. I know Netflix used to be good about having tons of stand ups on there. They don't have as many as they used to. So, but I've been able to find a bunch of them on Amazon Prime. So that's the majority of where I've been going to with those. But yeah, no, he's really funny too. Um, man, I love stand up. That's something I could talk about quite a bit. Those dudes crack me up.
Yeah, me too. I love it. I've thought about. I've had some people push me to do stand up. I'm like, no,
Huh?
I'm
No?
I've thought about it. I've
Yeah.
actually wrote a set.
Yeah.
I've never told anybody this. You're good at getting that good stuff out. I wrote a stand-up set, like a 15, 20-minute set, probably 3 or 4 years ago.
That's cool.
I do not have the nerve to ever do it. It will never see the light of day.
You talk about needing to have thick skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level. So yeah, I get it. But hey, before you even said anything, I was thinking, maybe he should do stand up, So.
No. I don't know. I love comedy, like reacting.
Yeah.
I guess I'm more reactive to things, but to sit up there and just do a joke, I'll probably bomb.
Yeah. So so there is a group of people that know this, but my listeners don't know this. So you're doing really good here too. I just want you to know that. But awesome. So I'm a pastor's son. Okay. A lot of people, everybody knows that. My guests.
PK.
Yeah, I am. And there for a while, I did. I was kind of a minister and stuff like that in the church. Well, I decided, there's Christian comedians out there. I'm going to try my hand at this. And one youth service night, that's what I did. I did a stand-up set at church. It went over pretty well, but I had a audience that I knew very well.
Yeah.
So I knew what would go over and everything. But so I've tried my hand at it before, and I wouldn't have the nerve to try it in front of a crowd that I didn't know. So I totally understand what you mean by that.
Well, kudos for doing that. That's awesome that you actually went up there and did it.
It was fun, but like I said, it almost wasn't fair because it was an audience that I knew, so I knew what would make them laugh. So it's a little different in those cases.
Yeah, that's kind of what I worry about. That if it's people that I don't know,
right?
Since I'm more of a reactive, comedy.
Right.
And most of my comedy, I want to make people laugh and smile. I do it at cash registers. I do it anywhere. I just want to see somebody smile because you never know what somebody's going through that day. But to stand up and do it, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I have enough spotlight being in a band, and I don't need any more.
Do you have a favorite place that you like to perform with the band?
Vino's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Vino's in Little Rock is our home base. I absolutely love Vino's. It's like I've always said for years, it's Little Rock's CBGBs.
Yeah.
Some big name bands, Green Day and Evanescence have played there, and I know
a lot of wrestlers that perform there too.
Yes, I still haven't gone to a wrestling match there, but I want to.
Oh
yeah. Anytime I walk into Vino's, as soon as I get there, I feel at home and at ease. Even if I'm not playing, I can walk right by the sound booth, and it's either Jackson in there or somebody else is like, "Hey man, what's up?" And it's home,
right?
And I know what the vibe's going to be. I know it's a safe place, even though I've been roofied there, but it's a safe place. We didn't even get to that last time.
No.
Yeah, that was one of our album release shows. I was roofied. Yeah, I remember playing the first song, starting the first song, starting the second song, and then starting the last song. I thought we only played like 3 songs. We ended up playing like an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I did an interview outside on camera that I don't remember. I've seen it. It's horrible.
Oh.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, it's Vino's is my favorite place, and another favorite place is Midtown Billiards, but it's a whole different vibe. We start playing at 1 a.m.
Oh, okay. That's a whole different group of people at 1 a.m.
It's the after the bars close place.
Yeah.
And we play from 1 to 5 in the morning.
Wow.
It is, when we start playing at 1 a.m, there's maybe 20, 30 people in there. And by 4 o'clock, it is packed and it's like 120 capacity and it's shoulder to shoulder and it's amazing vibe. And there's all different kinds of people. Vino's is the same way. You can have somebody in a 3-piece suit next to somebody with green hair.
Yeah.
Next to somebody in drag.
Yeah.
I love that vibe that there's it's just a different community coming together in music.
Right. And that's got to be an amazing feeling too, because like you said, starting out with just a few people and by the end, you've got all these different people there and everything. That's got to be an amazing feeling to have. Yeah.
And we get that energy back too, because as they're vibing on music, then we vibe harder and then it's all interactive.
Yeah.
And we're never one of those bands to go back in a green room and hang out anyway. If any show we're at, we're up front vibing with the people too, and then it's like, oh, we got to go on stage. Oh yeah, crap. And then we get off stage and we're right back out in front. But yeah, those two places are my favorite.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, do you have anything coming up that maybe you want to announce before I get you off of here?
Our singles, I guess, the special edition hopefully will be coming out in a month or two after we finish touching on Up Here. They're going to be mixed and mastered at Abbey Roads in London.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Nobody knows that either. So these two songs are getting mixed and mastered at Abbey Roads, and then we're going to put them out as a special edition, hopefully in a couple months. And then hopefully my new solo song, a single, not sure which one yet, in a couple months as well. So be on the lookout for new stuff coming out soon.
All right. And if people want to follow you or follow the band, how can they do that?
The band, they could go on staysinvegasofficial.com, and all our links there on social media and stuff like that. And then ChristopherFulmer.com is my website. I keep forgetting I have a website there. But all my socials, C Fulmer Music. I'm on all the socials there.
All right. Man, this has been great. Do you have any final thoughts for me?
Man, you're awesome. Thanks for third time's a charm. I hope the audio works.
This is getting out there. I promise. Whatever I got to do to make sure this one is going to get out there.
It's been fun. My final thought was it's been fun. You're a great interviewer. I love it. Hopefully we can do this again in the future.
Definitely.
So just let me know, and I'm always down to talk to you. It's been a great podcast. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, man. And I will talk to you a few more minutes after I end this recording, but it has been great talking to you, and we definitely will be getting you back on here.
Awesome. Sounds good, man.
All right.
Hello there. While I have your attention, let me introduce myself. My name is Colby Cheese. I'm a content creator at TikTok with over 1.6 million followers, husband, comic book collector, and avid wrestling fan. And if you're listening to this, that means you must be a wrestling fan too. We will be discussing all of the wrestling from Monday Night Raw to Friday Night SmackDown, those AEW Wednesdays to those PLEs on the weekends that we have to wake up at 11 a.m. for. And that's only at Wrestling with Colby Cheese.
Fascinating People, Fascinating Places returns. I talked to Eric Maddox, the man responsible for capturing Saddam Hussein, attorney Jason Wright, whose career was rocked when he was tasked with defending September 11th mastermind, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. I speak with experts about human trafficking, the death of Princess Diana, the legacy of Scott of Antarctica. I talk with a TV celebrity who abandoned stardom for the simple life, chat with astronaut Jim Weatherby, and much, much more. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the action.
Hey, avid podcast listener, come on over to the Zero to Hero podcast to listen to Billy and Jimmy, myself, talk about all kinds of things from the Nerdverse, Power Rangers, Gundams, anime, random TV shows, diseases, economic turmoil, and how to scam people on crypto.
All right, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed that episode with Christopher Fulmer. I really enjoyed talking to him, and definitely be looking for him to come back on the show. I want to have him back on to talk more about his music and to talk more about his acting career. He was super nice, and he was a great guy to have on the show. And I really do hope that you guys enjoyed that one. And for next week's episode, you'll just have to wait and look on Facebook or Instagram or wherever it is that you follow me. Hopefully you follow me on all of them. I will be announcing it probably around Friday or so. I've got a few that I'm supposed to record this week, but I want to make sure that they're recorded before I tell you which one is coming next. So make sure that you tune in to any of my social media, and I will be announcing who is going to be on there that way. I'm even on Snapchat, so make sure that you check me out. If you want to find out how you can follow me on social media, I have my link tree attached to my show notes here. And when you click on that, it should have all the icons at the top of my link tree showing where you can follow me on all the different social media sites. So make sure that you go and do that. But in the meantime, make sure that you follow my podcast networks that I am a part of. And that is the OIW Podcast Network and the Zero to Hero Podcast Network. Both of these are amazing places to find some really cool shows. The OIW Podcast Network has a lot of different wrestling shows and things like that. So if you want some more wrestling in your life, make sure that you check out the OIW Podcast Network. But that's not the only thing that they have on there. They have other shows. They have retro gaming shows on there and things like that as well. But make sure that you go and check them out. And the Zero to Hero Podcast Network, you hear me talk about them all the time. Billy and Jim from Zero to Hero Podcast are amazing guys. They have a really funny show that you can listen to. And you've got other guys like the Three Ranger Bros Studios, and that's Ty Tiger, Mark the Red Cornish Ranger, and Cosplay Dude 637. And as you know, two of them actually run some stuff for me that we'll talk about here in just a minute. But they have some really amazing stuff on the Zero to Hero Podcast Network, so make sure that you go and check out both of these networks because they have amazing stuff. And I just want to say thank you to them for continuing to support this show and being so awesome. So I finally did it. It is here. The shop that I've been talking about is up and running. Mind you, it only has 2 things on it at the moment because I don't have a lot of time to work with this, but I am getting there. So if you want a t-shirt or if you want one of my hoodies, they are both up on the shop, and I will have that tagged in my show notes, and it's also part of my link tree. So if you would like a t-shirt or you would like a hoodie, make sure that you go and follow that. I will have more stuff that is coming on there real soon. I'll have some stickers, some koozies, things like that to be added to my shop here very, very soon. Like I said, sorry it took so long for me to get that up. I really appreciate you guys being patient with me on getting that shop up and running, but it is there now, so you can get your merch so you can support this show. At the end of every episode, you hear a song by the man D-Cure, and he was in my first 15 episodes, I believe, and after he was on the show, a few months later, he made me this song, and I really appreciate him doing that. And if you like the way it sounds, make sure that you go and follow him. He's an amazing artist, and he's a super funny guy, and I have him tagged in my show notes as well. So Original Geek has been pretty busy. This is the Sunday after. They just did a live appearance at Treat Yourself in Mountain Home, Arkansas. Turned out really great from what I'm hearing. I wasn't able to be there, but I saw pictures from it, and I heard from the guys, and they had a really good time. And hopefully we'll be able to do more stuff like this here in the future. We have some cool stuff that is coming up that I haven't talked about yet, that I will be talking about maybe here in a few weeks and everything, but we've got some really cool live events that are coming up. The next time that you can see Original Geek is at SpaCon, and that is in Hot Springs, Arkansas on September 20th and 21st, I believe is what it is. And you can go out there, see all the guys, and get some signatures, maybe get a few prints or some comics, whatever you want to do, and maybe get a t-shirt even. But they will be at SpaCon, so make sure that you go out and see them if you are in that area, September 20th and 21st. So the next appearance that I will be having for the podcast will be in October. It'll be October 5th and 6th. I am the official media at HallowsCon in McAlester, Oklahoma. I will be out there. I've got my booth going. I'm going to be bringing Nick with me so you can get some more of those original Geek comics and things like that at my booth as well. But I'll be there all day on both of those days. And come by, say hi to me. Maybe we can do some videos. As you know, I've started doing TikTok videos and stuff with my dad joke of the week. And come by, tell me a dad joke. Maybe we can do something fun together for the TikTok or for any of the other stuff that I have going on. But I look forward to meeting each and every one of you, and I'm excited about doing this convention that is coming up. Going to have some more cool stuff coming up, like I said, and I will be announcing that later on once it gets a little closer and things are nailed down just a little bit more. But yeah, I'm very excited about the future and what is going to happen with this show and what is going to happen with Original Geek. They've been nothing but awesome since I started working with them, and I appreciate them as well. So, as I said a minute ago, there's a few guys that work with me. Well, they are in charge of some of my brother networks that are part of If You Give a Dad a brand, and that is If You Give a Dad a YouTube channel and If You Give a Dad a cosplay. So, Cosplay Dude 637 runs If You Give a Dad a cosplay, and Ty Tiger runs If You Give a Dad a YouTube channel. They come out with really cool stuff on there. If you are looking to try to start doing cosplay, or if you are like, how the heck do I do a YouTube channel? Go and follow these guys. They can help you to figure that stuff out, to make sure that you know all the tips and tricks to doing these different things. I know it's helped me out a lot when it comes to trying to do YouTube videos, and I've kind of, as you know, in the past, I talked with Eric Cushing on here about maybe trying to get into cosplay. So Cosplay Dude 637's videos might come in handy here pretty soon for me. So if you want to do that stuff, make sure that you go out there and you follow those channels as well. They're in the show notes. You can find them there. I might have some other new ventures of the If You Give a Dad a brand coming soon. I'm talking to a few people about maybe starting some other channels. So that's exciting stuff that might be happening very soon. So I've already told you about where to find me on social media, but if you want to send me an email, make sure that you send it to giveadadapodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up with anything that you want to talk about. If you want to discuss an episode with me, or if you want me to bring someone on, or if you have a joke that you want to tell me, send them to me in email. I love hearing from you guys. It's always a blast. Or if you have somebody that you want to be brought back on the show even, tell me that. Give me your requests. I am always looking to talk to you guys to find out what it is exactly you guys are wanting for this show, because I love doing this show and I love it when you guys are involved in the show. So yeah, hit me up, give me a line, and we'll go from there. It's also in my link tree, my email address is, so if you'd like to go there and just hit that little envelope at the top of my link tree, you can send me an email that way as well. All right, if you could do something, just a little favor for me, could you go out there and rate and review this podcast? Give me a 5-star, 4-star, whatever you think it should be. But go out there and rate and review this show, wherever it is you're listening, whether it be Spotify, or if you're listening on iTunes, or wherever it is. There's so many different places that you can follow this show, and wherever it is you're listening, please send me a review and tell me what you think of this show, whether you like it or whether you hate it. Let me know. The more people that review this, the more likely I am to be recommended to other people, and I would love to see this show grow. Also, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. If this is your first time listening and you like the way it sounds, make sure you do those things and hit the notification bell. That way you are notified when a new episode of iGadap drops. So, we have come to the end of another episode here, and I've had a great time on this one. I've had a great time talking to you guys and talking to my guests this week. But it is time for Billy's favorite part of the episode, and that is Dad Joke of the Week. So what is the least spoken language? Sign language.
Jared, you stay over there. You stay over there. Yeah, you get back. You get back right now.
I'm done with this guy.
Get over there.
I'm bad.
No, bad.
Let me out.
I'm getting the spray bottle. I'm getting the spray bottle.
Dang it. I'm going to swing.
Spray bottle.
I'm going to put them on walls of Jericho.
All right. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Room rounded, but I got a podcast on. He calls us beautiful people, then tells us who we have on. The best part of my day, though we're blocked out in my pods. Tell my friends all about it so that they follow along. And the host is kinda nerdy, but guess what I am as well. I don't feel so alone, and I began walking out of my shell. Heard a story, I need a connection I haven't felt. I'll be looking for the next one, till then farewell. It's the podcast for me. Have it on, better go see. Listen closely, download and tune in remotely. It's the podcast for me. Have it on, better go see. And listen closely, download and tune in remotely.
This podcast is part of the OIW Podcasting Network.
All right, cool, sweet. Baby Jesus. Okay, cool.